Yeah, let's talk about Diddy. Let's talk about fucking Diddy for a second here. For those who don't know, Sean Diddy Combs, they have reached a verdict, ladies and gentlemen. They have reached a verdict. He has been found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, but convicted of a lesser charge. The judge denied bail for the Bad Boy Records founder, saying it would be impossible for Combs to prove he does not pose a danger. Sentencing is scheduled for October 3rd. Sean Diddy Combs, the one-time global hip-hop titan whose federal trial unveiled harrowing testimony accused him of sexual abuse against women and forcing drug-dazed freak-offs, was acquitted Wednesday of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but found guilty of lesser charges. Chat, this is just proof that if you have money, you can get away with anything. I mean, we already knew that. But you know. A jury's verdict delivered on third day of deliberations declared Combs not guilty of one count of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, but guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. What? So he's guilty of driving to have sex with a prostitute? Or transporting prostitutes? So sex trafficking? So are you dumbing down the people that he was trafficking and just saying that they're prostitutes? Is that what I'm getting at here? I don't understand the transportation to engage in prostitution. I don't know if that means that he's on the way to bang a prostitute or if he's transporting prostitutes. Later Wednesday, U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian denied Combs' bail request, saying it would be impossible for him to prove he does not pose a danger. The verdict is seen as a win for Combs and for his defense team. Yep. Which did not call a single witness during the 7-week trial. What? They won so hard they didn't call a single witness? They got away with it without calling one witness? What? Dude, I swear they need to have every high profile, or maybe not high profile, but I feel like cases like this need to be broadcast so everyone can see the bullshit that happens behind closed doors. Was this broadcast? I mean, if it was broadcast, I swear it would have been covered by everybody. I assume it wasn't broadcasted. After it was read, his family stood in the background clapping and cheering. Combs fell to his knees in prayer. As he left the courtroom, he told his family, "Thank you, I love you." Oh my God. Fuck you, dude. That's so fucking stupid. Tenny Garagos, one of Combs' attorneys, broke out in tears. His lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, did he break out in tears because he realized that he was going to get paid so much goddamn money? He probably broke out in tears because, like, I'm rich. Oh my God, I'm rich. His lead attorney, Mark, made a fist in triumph as the defense team hugged one another and hugged his family. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. Agnifilo told reporters outside the courthouse it's a great victory for the jury system. He saw that the Southern District of New York prosecutors came at him with all they had. Apparently not. Because he got away with it. I don't understand this shit. Agnifilo had asked Subramanian to release Combs from federal detention, where he has been for nearly a year. He also asked for Combs to be released on conditions to his home in Miami, offering a $1 million bond. Combs has been a model prisoner who is in the process of working on himself and has no plans to flee. In his denial, cited Combs' attorney's own words. We own the domestic violence. And said prosecutors have presented evidence that Combs had engaged in years of lifelong violence. He continues to be a danger. So I don't get it. You keep him locked up because he's a danger to others, but you let him go on a, what was it again? 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but for some weird reason you're still keeping him? That's a little bit sus. He's a danger to society, but the only thing you caught him on was this. Then how is he a danger to society? Explain, Judge. Explain how this guy, who only had 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, is so dangerous. If that's all he has, why the fuck are you saying that he's a danger to society? Explain. Outside court, Combs supporters celebrated with baby oil. Wait, hold up. There's Diddy supporters? That's, wow. An apparent reference to supplies witness said were provided for freak-offs. A woman in a bikini danced as a man drizzled baby oil on her from a nearby ledge. Wow. I can't even, like, I got no words for that. I genuinely have no words for that. Wow. They're basically saying, yay, more freak-offs. Yay, more sex parties. Amid the throngs of onlookers were influencers who have been chronicling. I can't, bro. My brain's not doing it. The trial from the courthouse since it began roughly 2 months ago. Los Angeles-based YouTuber Armon Wiggins, who has more than 280,000 followers, declined to share his thoughts about the verdict itself, but acknowledged a victory of a different sort. Let me guess, you got a lot of views? Is that your victory of a different sort? Okay. Research. He's live, chat. Diddy's best friend gives thoughts on guilty versus not guilty. Dope content creators media covering the Diddy trial. So I'm assuming the victory of the other thing is the fact that you made your entire career off of this. I mean, fair enough. We changed the face of media. We changed the face of how news gets out. Wiggins said, it was a fight in the beginning because a lot of times people don't respect the news media, but I'm one of those people who's willing to fight with traditional media because we do numbers. Okay. So all right. I mean, so you're a YouTuber. I'm just confused. It's a win because I don't know. I guess he's saying that because YouTubers are getting views and like mainstream media aren't like the main sources of that shit anymore. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of been a thing for a while, but I understand what he's saying. Trial has drawn nationwide attention. No cameras were allowed in court. Yeah, that's a surprise. So to follow along with that, what's happening in the courtroom, people turn to traditional media sources as well as influencers who were at the trial. Wiggins said that since he began covering the trial, he's gained about, dude. So you have an entire section of a YouTuber bragging about how he got a lot of followers and views. This just kind of shows that this guy didn't give a fuck about the trial at all. If he said, you know what, I won anyway, because now I have views. I thought the whole point was the fact that, you know, you wanted to cover the Diddy trial and the importance of Diddy getting in trouble. And then you just go, oh, well, I have a lot of views now, so I don't give a fuck. All right. Great journalism, I guess. I don't know. That was weird to put in there. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's see. The partial conviction caps an astonishing moment for Combs, a self-made rapper from New York. I mean, self-made is a strong word. Who rose to the pinnacle of hip-hop culture and became a household name. He once ruled the hip-hop... Okay, I don't care. After 3 decades running the spotlight, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I think... All right. I just want to see what the... Okay, the legal... 3 women, including Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, were central figures in the case. They provided graphic testimony about allegations of sexual assault and violence or threats of blackmail. Combs' lawyers called no witnesses, and Combs himself decided not to testify, as much of the defense's case was laid out during lengthy cross-examination. Okay. So these people provided graphic testimony about allegations of sexual assault and violence. Diddy didn't say a word. No witnesses were called. And so you just say, fuck it, let him go. I'm sorry? Diddy didn't even talk. Bro didn't even go to the stand. What? Ventura's attorney Doug Wigner told reporters outside the courthouse Wednesday that his team would have liked to have a conviction on the sex crimes and racketeering charges, but that they were pleased, finally held accountable. Bro, that is paid off as fuck. That is paid off as fuck. The other lawyers saying he was finally held accountable and they're happy. They're pleased. Are you fucking serious? Okay. Nah. Bro's paid off. Paid off as fuck. Jury must convicted beyond a reasonable doubt the defendant was involved in an enterprise among 2 or more people to engage in at least 2 criminal acts affecting interstate commerce offenses that may include kidnapping, arson, blah, 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 blah. Nearly 5-hour closing argument. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic reminded the jury about various government witnesses who testified the allegation. Capricorn Clark was subject to kidnapping and forced labor while the car of romantic rival Combs, the rapper Kid Cudi, was firebombed in an act of arson. On the 2 sex trafficking accounts, Slavic told jurors that they did not need to believe Ventura or another ex-girlfriend who testified under a pseudonym James were engaged in sex. The women testified about freaks offs and hotel nights, which were the names for drug-induced sexual encounters with male escorts. They said Combs routinely manipulated them into threat of releasing recorded videos of the explicit sex acts. So if there was one single freak off when the defendant knew or recklessly disregarded that Casey or Jane was participating because of his lies, his threat, or violence, then that's it. He's guilty. All right. Well, that's that. That's that, chat. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.